failed the class because you forgot to bring your notebook.
All right, so this is the coordinate plane, right? It is typically graph, squares made into a T, and we graph lines and functions and sometimes relations if it's not a function on this plane. So let's just discuss important vocabulary when discussing the coordinate plane. The first part of it is the x-axis. So the x-axis is the one that goes horizontally, left to right. Okay, the x-axis. And the y-axis is the axis that goes up and down vertically. Okay, there are 4 quadrants on the coordinate plane. We always number them with Roman numerals. And they go in a clockwise direction.
Is that counterclockwise actually?
Yeah, it is sorry, like all backwards from here to here. So yes, counterclockwise direction. This is quadrant 1. It contains positive values because if you have any point in quadrant 1, your coordinate pair would be positive, right? X would be positive and Y would be positive. So this is the first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, the fourth quadrant. Okay, so if you're ever asked to describe the location of a point, you use quadrants to describe that location. Okay, first, second, third, fourth quadrant. Do we know that?
I think now I
Great. Okay, remember that the axes are basically just number lines going in vertical and horizontal directions. So the x-axis, as it goes to the right, just like a number line, gets more positive, and as it goes to the left, it gets more negative. Just like a number line. The same is true of the y-axis, except for instead of going horizontally, it goes up and down. As the axis goes up, it gets more positive. As the axis goes down, it gets more negative. Okay, so it's basically just 2 number lines.
So quadrant 3 is a negative coordinate?
Correct. You got it. You got it. All right, so just for example, you don't have to put those, but just to show you like what the numbers look like. Along the x-axis, getting more positive. Along the getting more positive to the right, and then getting more negative to the left. As it goes up, it gets more positive. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on infinitely.
Favorite words when they leave those.
Yes, those are my favorite words. And then as it goes down, it gets more negative on the y-axis. So -1, -2, -3, just getting more and more negative each number as you go down. Okay? Okay. Then we always have this middle point in the very center where the axes meet. Okay?
Sorry to interrupt, Mrs. Nozio, but it goes, when you're writing graph coordinates, it's
Yep.
X then Y, right?
Correct. Yes. That middle point where they meet, that is the point 0, 0. Okay? And it is also called the origin. So if you are told to plot a point at the origin, it is at 0, 0, right where the axes meet. Okay? So we call that little point the origin. It is at 0, 0 because you're not moving at all off of either axis. So this is what you were asking. So you can ordered pairs, name points, and we always write ordered pairs in parentheses. We put the x coordinate first, a comma, and then the y coordinate. So that's how we name points on the coordinate plane, is by using ordered pairs. And it always goes x, comma, y. The x tells us how many units we're moving left or right, and then the y coordinate tells us how many units we're moving up or down vertically. So for example, if we were going to plot the point 4, -1, we'd start at the origin. Because our x is 4, we move 4 in a positive direction. And because our y is -1, we move down 1 in a negative direction in order to plot that ordered pair. Oh, I should do this on my board. So 4, -1 would be right here. Okay, if you're going to plot when we have a 0 for one of our coordinates, it just means you don't move off the axis. So in this case, if our coordinate is 0, - 0, +3, we're not moving either way in the x direction. So we're just staying right, in fact, on the y-axis, because we're not going to move to the right or to the left, because it's 0. And then our y is 3, so we go up 1, 2, 3, and our point is right on the axis here.
So we don't count 0, like we'll start from the numbers.
Yep, you just don't move either direction off the axis. Okay? Okay, and then -1, -1, we'd move first 1 in a negative direction horizontally and up 1. So -1, 1. It's kind of getting... we've seen this. I assume that this is review. Okay. Okay, same thing if we have a y coordinate that's 0. That means, this one means we would move -2 to the left, because that's our x coordinate, and then 0 up and down, so our point is right on the or on the x-axis. Okay, this is at -2, 0. We didn't move up or down.